Hello guys, we're back at Origins 2019 and I'm here with Adam.
McCrimmon.
And Adam, why don't you tell us about your company and the games that you brought here today for Origin?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at Origins here. We've got Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Robot Tea Party, a game we co-published with Nirvana Game Studios. Inoka, which is Fighting Chipmunks, and ArchRavelry, our newest title that's coming to Kickstarter in September of this year. It is focused on crafting and knitting.
It's very, very interesting. I find this to be the most interesting game here because it's so different than anything else that we have here. We have fighting squirrels, we have Borderlands, and then knitting.
Crafting, yeah. So we really felt like we wanted to make something that is not done very often. The crafting and knitting community does not have enough games for them, and we know that a lot of board gamers are crafters and knitters. So we made a game that is focused on what it's like for them to complete projects and make things, and it's very tactile.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's like, that's actually very true. That's actually very true. A lot of us do knit, a lot of us do crochet, so it is very, very true. It's just interesting to see something like this. So I'm actually curious. So let's go through a quick little round here, and just tell me exactly what are the steps and what to expect.
All right, so in ArchRavelry, you are a crafter of one of 4 different archetypes that each have their own asymmetric power, and they are going to be competing to complete items, or to craft items, complete projects, and then score points. So as you play the game, it's action selection, so you're going to have 4 different options of what you can do, and some of those are going to be shopping, so you visit the yarn bazaar and get new yarn. Some are going to be crafting, where you discard yarn to the supply in order to make an item. And then others are going to be things like frog it, which is to take something down that you've already made, or maybe exchange your yarn with somebody else. Each player is going to have 5 patterns that they can make. 2 of them are the same for every player. Hats and blankets, everyone has the same recipe for hats and blankets. The 3 in the middle, which are bear, mittens, and scarves, those are variable. So there's over 200 combinations in the game of what you might end up with in regards to what are your bears, what are your mittens, what are your scarves. So for instance, in this game, you've got red bears, I've got orange bears. You've got blue and green mittens, and I've got orange and purple mittens. So it creates a little bit of a back and forth in regards to what color yarn you actually go for. Speaking of getting yarn, the way that works is you're going to choose the shop action, and then you'll get to take up to 2 cards worth of yarn. So what you might do is you might choose to say, hey, I want this red and I want this blue. You'll discard these, and then of course draw a red and draw a blue yarn ball. You add those to your own supply. Once you've done that, you reveal cards from the deck, and sometimes you're going to get yarn, or you may also get some other things instead of yarn. In this case, maybe you get a special request from someone that they really want you to make them an octopus, a cute little octopus. This is like in the crafting community. When you are a crafter, people find out and they go, oh, can you make me this thing? I really want you to make me this thing, right? So in this case,
Happens all the time.
we got an octopus. Now, you as the active player, you can choose, do you want to take on the project to make the octopus? Or do you want to give it to another player and force them to take it on? Because whoever takes this, the very next thing they make has to be that octopus and nothing else. So in this case, let's say you go ahead and take it on yourself. You decide, yeah, you know what, I'm going to make the octopus for you because it is worth points at the end of the game, so maybe you want to do that. The other thing that can show up in this deck is every once in a while an event will happen. That event might be you get a really friendly clerk at the store and all players get some free yarn. Or it could be a targeted event where a tangled cat shows up and then you get to choose a player and that player can't craft for their very next turn. So maybe you give that one to me to make sure that you slow me down a little bit. Aside from that, you'll get yarn in the deck. Now, once you've finished with the yarn bazaar and you got in those things, then you can craft your items. So in that case, you just discard yarn from your bowl. So in this case, let's say we discard a couple, a red or a green and a blue here, blue and a green, and we make a hat. Now that item goes on our board, and along with the other items we already have, we can combine these together to fulfill projects. So in this case, we'll combine a couple hats and some mittens, and we'll make stargazers. We'll make one of the projects. So those are going to be points you're going to get at the end of the game. This deck here is your project list, and this is the timer for the game. The number of projects you put in the list decide how long the game's going to be. So Near the end of the game, the project list will look like this. You'll have 3 projects left, and somebody will claim one of them. That will trigger endgame. At that point, every player is going to have a chance to knit one item or craft one item using just the yarn they already have left around the table. After that, you're going to add up your points for any special projects that you finished for people, the regular projects you finished, and any of these items that you crafted but never used in a project. So the last thing here is once you've added up all your points, you're going to subtract the value of yarn you still have in your bowl from your point total, because that's your basket of shame. And that's ArchRavelry.
And that's really, really interesting. I actually, when this game goes live on Kickstarter, I'll definitely look to support it and pick it up, because you don't see things like this very often. It's the games that are the most eccentric and eclectic that become the most fun and the most creative, and the ones that you always come back to. And so I'm really, really glad you showed me this. Real quick, can you explain? Let's do Inoka real quick. And so over here we're at Inoka, and is it pronounced Inoka?
Yeah. So it's Inoka, yeah.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about this game.
So Inoka is a clashing card game for 2 to 4 players. Essentially, the base mechanic is like rock, paper, scissors. It's meant to be a game you play in 5 to 7 minutes while you're waiting in line or while you're sitting, having a beer with somebody. And the idea is that you've got 3 tactics. You got attack, taunt, and block. Attack beats block, or taunt beats block beats attack. Each player is going to start with the same 9 cards. They'll have this beautiful art. And they're going to choose 5 of them, and then they're just going to go back and forth, clashing, revealing one card at a time, trying to win the leaf totem, and then ultimately secure some sacred stones. The first person to claim 3 sacred stones wins.
That's really simple. When does this one go live?
This one's actually already live. We kickstarted this last year. It was about 900% funded. This is the release year for it, so it's been out for a couple months, and you can currently. You'll be able to get it on Amazon soon. Not quite yet, but you also can buy it here at Origins and Gen Con.
Do you have a copy for me?
Do I have a copy for you? Yeah, sure, I got a copy for you.
Cool, I got $10.
Great.
It's 10, right?
It's 15, it's fine.
I'll give 15. Ready? Okay, so now we're at the Borderlands game. This one I want to put my hood up for because it seems a little bit too cool for me. So tell me a little bit more about this one.
Yeah, so Borderlands Tiny Tina's Robot Tea Party is the first wide-release board game in the Borderlands universe. In this game, you are attending a tea party with Tina. She has made a party game for us, and that game is to build and disassemble claptraps. So in the game, you're going to have 5 different claptraps you can choose from. You're going to have Gentleman, Pirate, Original Claptrap, Sheriff, and Wizard. And you're going to go back and forth building claptrap. You're going to put hats and arms and wheels on it. You're going to try and mess up your opponents by putting the wrong parts on theirs and the right parts on yours. And then as you go through the game, you're going to have a couple of known Borderlands characters that come in to help you out, either speed you up or slow down your opponent.
Very, very interesting.
It's available it's been available since PAX East. And you can get it at tinytinagames.com, or you can get it along with the rest of your Gearbox or your Borderlands 3 loot at gearboxloot.com.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So do you have anything to say before we end this interview?
I just want to say, hey, thanks. Origins has been great. This is the last interview I'm doing before the end of Origins, so it's good to get out of here, get back to real life for a little while. In regards to ArchRavelry, if you like crafting and knitting, then please go to ArchRavelry.com, join the mailing list, and we will let you know as soon as the game hits Kickstarter. And in regards to Borderlands, I want to thank our partners Nirvana Game Studios and Gearbox Software for working on this game. And you know what, everybody? We'll see you at Gen Con.
Yes, we'll see you at Gen Con. So this is Nash here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.